As Indian Air Force Rafale pilots cruised leisurely through the skies with their radar alarms silent, were they aware that a Chinese PL-15E missile was tearing through the sky at 6 times the speed of sound, approaching from beyond the safe zone they had deemed secure? Recently declassified Indian air combat information has revealed the fatal misjudgment based on erroneous intelligence. Reuters cited statements from 2 Indian officials, indicating that Indian intelligence agencies had made a serious miscalculation regarding the maximum range of the Chinese-made PL-15E air-to-air missile equipped by the Pakistani Air Force. They had previously stubbornly insisted that the missile's range was limited to around 150 kilometers. However, the results of actual combat dealt them a harsh reality check. The actual strike range of the PL-15E was dozens of kilometers longer than this underestimated figure. What does this mean? It means that the Indian Air Force's much-anticipated Rafale fighter jets, which believed they were flying in an absolutely safe airspace, had already entered the PL-15E's cold and deadly kill zone. This fatal misjudgment of distance directly contributed to the costly losses. Multiple Indian Air Force officials expressed deep regret during post-incident reviews. If the intelligence had been accurate, and if they had known the PL-15E's truly terrifying range, they would never have allowed the valuable Rafale and other main combat aircraft to linger at that distance. Nor would they have paid such a heavy price. The fog of intelligence ultimately turned into the burning wreckage of aircraft on the battlefield. In response to India's attempts to shift blame, Pakistani officials demonstrated a completely different level of confidence through Reuters. 3 Pakistani officials explicitly stated that the downing of the Rafale was not solely dependent on the missile's range advantage. The Pakistani Air Force had already leveraged Chinese-made equipment to meticulously build an efficient and lethal kill chain, that is, the multi-domain joint operational capabilities emphasized in modern warfare. The core of this system lies in the seamless integration of information and the efficient closed loop of lethality. Chinese-made early warning aircraft and reconnaissance aircraft equipped with advanced active phased array radars act as sky eyes suspended in the sky, continuously scanning, identifying, and tracking Indian fighter jets to generate precise target data. This valuable real-time intelligence is instantly transmitted via high-speed data links to the J-10CE fighter jets on the front lines. The J-10CE, this advanced 4th-generation fighter jet also developed in China, reaches its full potential at this moment. After receiving target information from the early warning aircraft, the J-10CE can decisively shut down its own radar, transforming into a silent assassin. In an electromagnetic silent state, it relies on data link guidance to quietly approach the Indian aircraft formation. Only when it reaches a distance that is absolutely certain to ensure the PL-15E achieves maximum destructive effect, does the J-10CE suddenly activate its radar, lock onto the target, and launch the missile. This covert hunting supported by the system leaves the enemy unable to defend against it. The message from Pakistan is crystal clear. Even if India were fully aware of the PL-15E's actual range data in advance, the Rafale would still be unable to escape being hunted down in the face of Pakistan's integrated system combining early warning aircraft, data links, advanced fighter jets, and missiles. The outcome of modern air combat has long transcended the mere comparison of individual weapon platforms' performance. An even more intriguing detail has come to light. According to official Chinese data disclosed at international events such as the Zhuhai Air Show, the export version of the PL-15E missile is claimed to have a maximum range of just 145 kilometers. This figure is even lower than the 150 kilometers erroneously estimated by Indian intelligence agencies. This stark discrepancy has sparked intense debate. Could it be that Chinese defense companies are inflating the missile's range to deliberately set a trap for potential adversaries? Upon closer examination of the measurement standards for missile range, this inflated range theory appears overly simplistic and crude. A missile's practical effective range is a variable strictly constrained by multiple complex conditions. What are the altitude and speed of the launch platform at the time of launch? Is the target's radar cross-section large or small? Is the target approaching at high speed head-on, trailing behind, or performing evasive maneuvers? Even environmental factors such as atmospheric density, wind direction, and wind speed profoundly influence how far a missile can ultimately fly, and whether it can effectively hit its target. The experience of Russia's R-77 series medium-range air-to-air missiles is a classic example of how standard differences can lead to significant cognitive gaps. The R-77's range data, as promoted by Russia, often sounds quite impressive, capable of competing with the US-made AIM-120 series. However, in multiple real-world combat scenarios and third-party testing evaluations, the ER-77's performance has consistently fallen short of expectations, with its actual effective range far inferior to the advertised figures. Why is this the case? Industry insiders generally believe that when promoting the maximum range of its missiles, Russia often selects overly idealized test conditions, such as setting the target as a large, high-altitude, straight-flying bomber, or using a high-arcing trajectory, and other special modes. These conditions are virtually impossible to replicate in real, intense aerial combat environments. Manipulating parameters in this way is, at its core, misleading to potential users. In contrast, China's defense industry adheres to a core design philosophy of practical performance above all else. According to professional analysis, if the PL-15E were tested using the same relatively lenient or specifically optimized standards as the Russian ER-77, its stated maximum range could easily reach 190 kilometers or even 200 kilometers. China has chosen a more rigorous and responsible path. The 145-kilometer export-rated data is a reliable figure obtained under relatively stringent conditions that closely mimic real aerial combat environments. This means that overseas users can confidently rely on the PL-15E's propulsion range and terminal energy to effectively threaten targets within a 145-kilometer range during actual combat operations. Behind this honest calibration lies a genuine commitment to the combat capabilities of its customers. The downing of India's Rafale fighter jets by PL-15E missiles appears, on the surface, to be a misinterpretation of the range data of a single weapon by intelligence agencies. However, at its core, it reflects a serious disregard for the essence of modern air combat system-on-system confrontation. Pakistan's integrated kill chain, built on early warning aircraft data links, advanced fighter jets, and long-range missiles, has achieved a combat effectiveness where 1 + 1 + ONE greater than TH or EE. The lessons from this air battle ring like a morning bell and evening drum. The balance of victory on future battlefields has shifted from the competition of individual star weapons to the ultimate confrontation of system integration capabilities. When the enemy's early warning aircraft observe the battlefield from the rear, when data links silently weave an information network, and when missiles roar in from beyond the line of sight, any self-satisfaction with individual parameters or reckless misjudgment will result in an unbearable price. The power of system integration is the true blade that pierces the future battlefield.